Good morning, all. Welcome to my classroom. In this biochemical engineering course, in this module, sterilization, in the previous lecture, we have discussed in detail about principles of sterilization, what are the various sterilization techniques are available, what are the mediums, for example, sterilization of medium, sterilization of fermenter, sterilization of cultures, all these needs to be done. And for different methods batch sterilization and continuous sterilization, each method has its own advantages and disadvantages, which have been discussed in the previous lecture. Okay, so we have seen what are the different type of sterilization of culture media, additives, fermenter vessel, how to sterilize. Then air also needs to be sterilized, how it needs to be sterilized have been discussed in the previous lecture. Okay, now, so in this lecture we'll discuss about the kinetics of death rate of the microorganisms in a fermenter. Okay, so remember, actually we have seen the growth kinetics of the fermenter, right? So we have to start from there, because growth and death is what happens, but particularly in sterilization we are more concerned about the death phase of the microorganism, right? So just we should recall what we have learned in the growth kinetics of microorganism, means how the growth takes place when the microorganism is growing in a batch setup. Okay, so if you look at the growth curve, what is growth curve? Because growth curve, actually bacteria will be easy to grow in a laboratory. Their growth is actually studied in detail in the laboratory, so that we can exploit and we identify the necessary parameters to maintain the growth. Or if you want to kill it, we will find out what needs to be removed from the system to kill the microorganism. All that can be understood, right? For that reason, growth curve needs to be plotted. Okay, so for example, if we are performing the batch system and noting down the growth curve, okay, so that means what bacteria will be adding in a predictable pattern, resulting in a growth curve composed of 4 distinct phases of growth. That is, when you are not adding any nutrient, then also growth will be taking place, right? Because according to the prevailing situation, the microorganism will adjust and then it will try to have growth. Okay, so all will go through 4 distinct phases of growth. Like lag phase will be there initially, then there will be exponential phase or log phase, then there will be stationary phase, and obviously because we are not adding any food or any waste is not being removed, so after a certain time there will not be any nutrient available for the bacteria to survive, so there will be a death or decline phase will be there when there is lack of oxygen or lack of substrate or nutrient supply to the system, right? Also, this growth curve will give you some generation time for a particular organism. By plotting a graph, you'll be able to find out what is the generation time for a given period of time, how much time it takes for a population of microorganisms to double or get multiplied in number, right? So that also will come to know when you are plotting the growth curve. Okay, so we have seen in the growth kinetics. So when you are plotting number of when you have a log plot of logarithmic of number of bacteria or microorganisms versus time in a system, so initially there will be a lag phase, then there will be a lag phase, means it is because the microorganism is trying to adjust to the system. It is getting all the energy. It is like we shifted to from one house to another house. It takes certain time to get used to and have a normal sleep. Okay, so there will be a disturbed sleep we will have, right? Similar to that, here initially when a microorganism is introduced into from one medium into another medium, because if everything is same, it is going to be different case, but obviously the conditions of the environment or the weather is going to be different when we are even traveling from one place to another place. Like that, here microorganism will also first undergo a lag phase. Then once it is settled, it is going to have a growth exponential phase will be there. Once it gets a sufficient energy, yeah, now I am ready, now I can multiply. Like that, it will go for reproduction, and it is going to be multiplication of microorganisms. So that way there will be exponential phase will be there. So theoretically we are going to have a growth phase up to a certain point, but after that what happens, there is lack of nutrient or substrate that is present in the system. So obviously, even though if even though this organism is ready to multiply, but it is not getting sufficient food or sufficient nutrients, so what will happen, there will be a stationary phase. Okay, that's where monod kinetic comes into picture, where at this point when you introduce fresh set of nutrient, this growth curve can be again, it will because you introduce something into the system, there will be you can extend this growth phase. Okay, so that way, to maintain the growth phase, the moment we reach this point, at this point we can add again nutrients into the system, and again we can have a second exponential phase. Okay, after a little bit of lag, there will be exponential. That's what monad kinetics we can call it as. Okay, so if we are not introducing anything, that's why here itself we told, when there is no food or waste is not removed, no food is added, no waste is removed, in that case we are going to have a stationary phase. So after certain time it will starve, and there will be a death phase taking place. Okay, so to explain them in detail, so each curve will have, so the details associated with the growth curve in terms of number of cells, length of the each phase, rapidness of the growth or death, overall amount of time for this up to this death phase will be varying from each organism to organism, even with the different conditions for the same organism. Okay, so that's what, if it is organism to organism, it will be different. Even if the organism is same, even with the different medium also, the all this growth curve is going to be different. So there is a small change in pH or temperature or nutrient present in the system, it will have its own growth curve. So that's why it is important to read and understand and make a growth curve to understand how much time is required, what is the lag phase, how much it is the time taken for exponential phase. One more thing is, with exponential phase curve only we can even get the kinetics parameters also. Okay, so that also we are going to discuss later. So but the pattern is common. That is the thing. Each organism, if you look at any organism or any medium, the pattern of the diagram is going to be the same. Okay, so that means what, there will be a lag phase, there will be exponential phase, stationary phase, and death phase. But the value, quantify the value, it may be varying. What time it takes place, what time it takes place, and what time it takes place is going to change depending upon the medium as well as the nature of the organism. Okay. So what is happening in this lag phase? Why there is no growth in the lag phase? We know that. Okay, so the lag phase, what is lag phase? It is an adaptation period. As I told you, even when you shift from one place to another place, one country to another country, we are going to have some time for adaptation period, right? So the lag phase is an adaptation period where the bacteria are adjusting to the new conditions prevailing in the new system. Okay, so that way this length of this lag phase will be varying considerably based on how different the conditions are from the earlier condition. You see, for example, my house also I have the similar setup. In the new place also I am going to have a similar setup. So I feel home, right? So I have all the comfort, all the hospitality provided is same like what I am feeling when I am with my parents. So I feel better and I can quickly adapt to new system, right? So that is what happens here also. So that way even bacteria also it is same. So that way, if you are any actively growing cells, when you are transferring from one type of media into the same type of media with the same environmental condition, they are going to have a very short lag period. Okay, so that is the important thing. That is why we try to mention. I told you, when you purchase the any microorganism, also they provide you nutrient medium in which it is grown. So if you are providing, when your lab also you are trying to grow it in the same similar medium, so that microorganism will quickly grow. So that way there will be less lag period. Okay. Otherwise, another thing is, when the cells are damaged, when they are not in good condition, so in that case also, even though the medium is good, but when the damaged cells are damaged, they are going to have a little longer lag period, because first they consume some energy and they take rest, they take repair themselves before they engage in the reproduction, right? So that way that recovery period is required for it if it is damaged. Okay. And for example, and typically cells in this lag period are synthesizing, what they are synthesizing is, they synthesize RNAs, they synthesize enzymes, and also whatever metabolites which are essential that may be missed from the old environment to this new environment. Okay, so even such as growth factors or micromolecules will be produced. So also they will be adjusting to the changes in the environment conditions like temperature, pH, or oxygen available in the new system. So from old system, little bit of microorganism is taken and it is introduced into a new system. So what is happening is, so it is first lag phase. That is what lag phase diagram is here. No? Okay. Yeah, in this lag phase, In this lag phase, this is what happens. They are adjusting, they are producing whatever is required to what is missing in the old environment. So to adjust to that, so they will be producing some of the RNAs, enzymes, or essential metabolites required. Okay. Also, they make themselves adjustable to the new condition of temperature, pH, or oxygen. Okay. Also, any repair is taking there, they need to do that repairing of injured cells also. Okay, so that's what takes place in the lag phase. So next phase is the log phase or exponential phase. Okay, so what is exponential phase or log phase? So once the cells have accumulated all that they need, the lag phase is done. It's like preparation is done, ready to go. So in then this exponential phase takes place because they start reproducing. Okay. They start reproducing. So the exponential or log phase of growth is marked by predictable doublings of the population, where one cell becomes 2 cells and 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, like that multiplication takes place. Okay, so what the thing is, the condition should be, it means that what during this period the conditions, environment, everything is favorable for the cells to reproduce, so they are able to involve in the multiplication. Okay, so that's why we are going to have a steeper slope on this growth curve. And when there is a ideal condition is not there, the slope is going to vary, right? Exponentially it is going to be steep slope. If conditions are very favoring the reproduction, but we are going to have a little less slope when if the conditions are not favorable. Hello, yeah, anything? That's a power cut. Okay, so that's what takes place in this phase. So during this phase, this multiplication is what takes place. So whatever cells that are present in this condition, cells in this exponential phase of growth, they are the healthiest one. They all have similar conditions because they will be uniform characteristics, which I will be explaining. That's the reason why we want to any studies we want to perform in the experiment, we make use of the cells, we collect cells from this exponential phase, not during the lag phase or not during the death phase. So when you want to take out some of the microorganisms for experiments, we will be growing the microorganism, and from that particular exponential phase we will take, because that is where you get some uniform healthier products. Okay, so better quality of microorganisms we get during that during this log phase or exponential growth. Okay, so you can see that different type of things. So when you have the number of cells actually changes like this. So when you plot of logarithmic number of cells, we are going to have a log plot like this. Okay, so that's how this growth phase is coming into picture. Okay, so you can see how they are multiplying. If you say 5 generation versus number of cells, 5, 10, 15, 20, you can see the number increasing during like this. Okay, how they are multiplying from 1000 to 32,000 to 1 lakh, like that. So actually, due to the predictability of the growth in this phase, this phase can be used to mathematically calculate the time it takes for the bacterial population to double the number, which is called as generation time. Generation time is how much time it takes to double its number. Okay. So the time it takes for the bacterial population to double is known as generation time, G. And this information is used by the microbiologists in the basic research as well as in the industry. In order to determine this generation time, we have to make use of the natural logarithmic of the cell number can be plotted against time, where the units can be varying depending upon the speed of the growth for the particular population, using a semi-logarithmic graph to generate a line with a predictable slope. Okay, so you can get a predictable slope by plotting this number of cells. We have seen already cell counting, right? Cell number of cells, how to count it. There are different techniques are there, manual counting, machine counting are there. So we have discussed that in detail in a separate lecture also. So once we are having the details of number of cells with respect to time, we can plot them to get these values. Okay. So the slope of the line is equal to 0.30. Alternatively, one can rely on the fixed relationship between what is the initial number and what is the time, at any time t, what is the number of cells. So that also we can make use of this equation to think. Okay, so this thumb rule can be used. So where n equal to n naught into 2 power n, where n is the final concentration, n naught is the initial cell concentration, and 2 power small n, in this n is the number of generations that has occurred between a specific period of time. Okay. So that this formula we can make use, and this generation time is represented by a formula t by n, where t is the, you can note down, we are going to solve a numerical now using this. The generation time can be represented by t by n, with the t being the specified period of time in the minutes, hours, days or time, months. So if we know the cell concentration at the start of the exponential phase of the growth and the cell concentration after some period of time of exponential growth, so the number of generation can be calculated. So using the amount of time that growth has allotted to proceed, we can calculate how many generation has calculated. We can say, so once you know the generation time, we will be able to calculate, if I am doing experiment for this much time, what will be the number of generation that has taken place, or number of cells that is there can be easily calculated. Okay. Then comes a stationary phase. As I told you, all good things must be coming to an end, right? So that way, even though there was a healthy situation, every cells were doing nice reproduction and they are multiplying their number. So they are, even we had a steep exponential growth curve. So what happens then? Then there will be, there has to be lack of supply of nutrient or substrates will not be there, right? So due to that, so further growth is stopped. Okay, that means that there is now increase in the rate at which it is multiplying, but that time death rate and multiplication is balanced, so you have a count to be stationary. That is that stationary phase. So because if you keep growing, you can see that the bacteria would equal to the mass of the earth in 7 days if there is no end to it. Okay. So at some point, the bacterial population runs out of an essential nutrient or chemical, or its growth is inhibited by its own waste product, because there are a lot of waste. Okay? Our house is having a lot of dust. We are not cleaning it, or we are not removing the dustbin or everything. It stinks and we have face discomfort, right? So like that, microorganism also, even though there is supply of nutrient, but due to large waste produced and lack of the physical space to have the reproduction, because then they will enter into this phase called as stationary phase. So at this point, the number of cells being produced will be equal to the number of cells dying off, or growth has entirely ceased, we can say. That's what. There is 5 newborn baby and there is 5 death. So the number of members in the family stays the same, right? So like that, here whatever is the number, it is there, because even though some growth is reproduction is taking place, it is compensated with the death of cells. So that way the stationary phase is flat. So that's why we are having a flat curve in this curve. Okay. What is happening in this phase? Physiologically, the cells become quite different at this stage. The behavior changes now. So they become quite different at this change. They try to adapt to the new starvation conditions, because now earlier there are a lot of things there, so we are able to comfortably eat fully. Then there is a phase, there is a shortage of supply of food. What happens? We have to reduce the count, right? Eating we reduce, sleeping we reduce, right? So that way we adjust to the starving conditions. So they behave differently, right? So that way accordingly their things will be different. So the few nerve cells that are produced are smaller in size, with bacilli becoming almost spherical in shape. The plasma membrane becomes less fluidic and permeable, with more hydrophobic molecules on the surface that promoting the cell adhesion and aggregation. So the nucleoid condenses and the DNA becomes bound with the DNA binding proteins from starved cells to protect the DNA from the damage. So these changes are designated to allow the cell to survive for a longer period of time in adverse conditions, while waiting for more optimal conditions, such as infusion of fresh nutrient is happening or not. Like that, they will wait. But once an infusion of nutrient is taking place, it will again become active, right? So that way, so there will be starving phase. So they undergo at this stationary phase. So these are the same strategies will be used by the cell in oligotrophic or low nutrient environment. So this stationary phase is similar to how the microorganisms are surviving in a less nutrient environment. So it has been hypothesized that cells in the natural world typically exist for longer period of time in oligotrophic environment with only sporadic infusions of nutrients that returns them to exponential growth phase for very brief period of time. So mostly they are under this stationary phase. Okay, so during this stationary phase, they are also prone to producing secondary metabolites or metabolites produced after active growth such as antibiotics. So whichever cells that are capable of making an endospore will activate the necessary genes during this stage in order to initiate the sporulation process. So after this stationary phase, we are going to have a death or decline phase. So this is the last phase of the growth curve as we have seen. So in the final phase, which is the death or decline phase, what is happening is the number of death is more than the number of new cells formed. So the number of viable cells decreases in a predictable or exponential fashion, and you can see the steepness of the slope corresponds to how fast the cells are losing their viability. It is thought that the cultural conditions have deteriorated to a point where the cells are irreparably harmed, since cells collected from this phase fail to show growth when transferred into a fresh medium. So it is important that if the turbidity of the culture is being measured as a way to determine cell density, measurements might not decrease during this phase, since cells could still be intact. Okay, so that way when you are calculating the number of cells, if you are using turbidity method, even the death phase, cells are still intact. So that way the cell count is going to be the same and the turbidity will be the same. Okay, so that way turbidity will be seen. So it has been suggested that the cells thought to be dead might be revived under specific conditions, a condition which is called as VBNC, which stands for viable but not non-culturable. So this state might be an important for pathogens where they enter a state of very low metabolism and lack of cellular division, only to resume growth at a later time when the conditions improve for them. So it has been shown that 100% cell death is unlikely to happen for any cell population as the cells mutate to adapt to the environment, however harsh the conditions may be. Okay, so that's why even when you are saying sterilization, 100% sterilization is not possible. Okay, even the bacterial death is not possible. The toilet cleaners also they show 100% cleaning like that, so that 100% will never happen. Okay, often there is a tailing effect observed where a small population of cells cannot be killed off. In addition, the cells might be benefit from the death of the new their counter cells, which will provide some of the nutrient to the environment. So that will be make use of by the neighboring cells. Okay, so if just calculate this one, take down this problem. 6 microorganisms, let me say Staphylococcus aureus. 6 Staphylococcus aureus are inoculated into a cream pie by the hands of a pastry chef. The generation time of this microorganism in this cream pie at the room temperature is 30 minutes. How many S aureus are in the pie after 4 hours at room temperature? At room temperature after 4 hours, what would be the generation time? How much generation time means what? How much time? So now here generation time is given, mean you should be able to tell what is the number of microorganisms. Okay, so initially what is the number? 6, and it is given that generation time is 30 minutes. So how will you calculate this? So you should calculate and comment your answer. Remember, one value is given in 30 minutes, another question is asked in hours. Okay, so 30 minutes is 0.5 hours. So 0.5 hours is the generation time, and time is 4 hours. So what is the number of microorganisms? Okay, So you can calculate n equal to T by G. Okay, T is given 4 hours, generation time is 0.5. So that will be your answer. Okay, what is the answer, one of you? Formula is T by G, G equal to T by N. Which formula we will use? First one is sufficient or second one you will have to use? One of you. I calculated. Okay, so both part you can calculate with 24 by, is it 4 by 0.5, 8, 24 by 0.5, 48. Is that the number of things? You can do that. Okay. Remember there is 6 microorganisms there. So accordingly you will get the answer. Okay. So what we have seen so far is, we have seen about the growth kinetics. Before getting into the death kinetics corresponding to sterilization, we have been discussing about the 4 different phases that are present in a microorganism growth curve. So this growth curve is important to understand how the cells are multiplying and what pH is prevailing condition is helping them, how much time each microorganism takes to become more active, because they undergo 4 phases. First phase is lag phase, where they prepare their cell machinery for growth. Second phase is the log phase, where growth approximates an exponential curve like straight line or a logarithmic scale we get. Third phase is stationary phase, where cells are stopping the growth and they shut down the growth machinery while turning on stress responses to help retain the viability. And last one is the death phase, where the cells begin to die at an exponential rate. And how we can get this growth curve? So the methods of obtaining bacterial growth curve. So a population growth curve for any particular species of a bacterium may be determined by growing a pure culture of the organisms in a liquid medium at a constant temperature. So what we can do is, we have to observe, then we have to withdraw the samples of the culture at a fixed interval, for example every 30 minutes, and the number of viable organisms in each sample is determined. So even turbidity measurement can be done, cell count can be done. So different techniques can be used, which have been discussed separately. So then the data are plotted on a logarithmic graph paper. So the logarithm log of this number of bacteria per milliliter of medium is plotted against the time. So once we plot that, we can get a growth curve. Okay, so then that is how we get a curve. So what is happening here is, the number of cells is, few live cells are present at the end of lag phase. Then during the exponential phase you have many live cells. During the stationary phase also many live cells are there, but little death is also taking place. So that way stationary phase will have dead cells, live cells plus dead cells. Then in the death phase, the number of dead cells will be more, and the number of live cells will keep decreasing with respect to time in hours. Okay, so this is the diagram showing in colors where more live cells are there, where more dead cells are there, can be understood with this illustration of this diagram. Okay, so what is the significance? I have told you what is the significance, just to summarize what we have done. So the study of this bacterial growth curves is important when we are aiming to utilize or inoculate known number of the bacterial isolates. For example, to enhance the plant growth, to increase the biodegradation of the toxic organics, or if you want to produce antibiotics or any other natural product at the large scale, that is at the industrial scale, if you want to enhance the rate at which these reactions are taking place, we have to understand the growth kinetics, so that we can do some of the necessary action like adjusting the pH or introducing the nutrient, like that we can perform to improve the growth rate. Because at the industry, time is more important. We want to form the product at the fastest rate, not like we have to wait for 1 month to get a product, right? So that we have to match the demand supply curve. So demands, based on the market demands, we have to get our supply to be done. Otherwise, the customer will go to shift to from your product to other product. There nobody waits to eat your own food. Okay, so once food is not available, we go for alternative food. Means for a particular brand, we don't wait for a brand, right? We want atta, you may be going and asking X brand atta, but if they say it is not there, you don't come back. No, let us starve today, X brand atta is not there. No, we again buy some other brand and we come back to pursue our breakfast or lunch or dinner, right? So that way it is important to understand this growth kinetics, so which will be helping us to uh, enhance the product rate, means the conditions in the system. Okay, so these growth kinetics are useful for assessing whether the particular strain of bacteria is quickly adapting and it is metabolizing to certain substrates, such as industrial waste or oil pollution, right? So whether this particular bacteria is suitable for a given application or not, what we do is by having a sample of that situation, like if it is a petrochemical wastewater, pharmaceutical wastewater, milk wastewater, or domestic wastewater, or hostile wastewater. So we take a model of the small sample of the water and we introduce the cell and we count its growth. Okay, so that's what we can do it in the lab scale, right? And bacteria that are even genetically modified to clean oil spills, so they can grow in the presence of complex hydrocarbons to ensure their growth would not be repressed by the toxic effects of oil. So that way we want to introduce the conditions prevailing in your thing where we want to introduce a microorganism, so that also how it is quickly adapting to the new conditions, all that can be studied using this cell growth, bacterial growth curves plotting. Okay, that means by performing the experiment we are plotting the growth curve. So the slope and the shape of the growth curve produced from bacteria grown with mixtures of industrial waste products, it gives us the information to the scientists whether the bacteria can be able to metabolize the particular substance, or and how many potential energy sources from the bacteria can be found in a waste mixture. So isolation and identifying the microorganism in a given wastewater or any oil spill waste, any waste, is also possible using this procedure. Now we'll ask you a few questions. What do you mean by a growth factor? What are survival factors in your cells? What is apoptosis? What happens when a cell is deprived of survival factors? Because these are all important when you get into our own topic of sterilization. Okay, so what do you mean by growth factor? A growth factor is a naturally occurring substance, any factor which help us to grow. Okay, so that way a growth factor is a naturally occurring substance which is capable of stimulating the cell proliferation, that is cell development, cell growth, and it is capable of healing the wounds and occasionally cellular differentiation. So if it is any material which is capable of helping in the growth of the cell, helping in the healing the cell, or in helping in the cell differentiation, so they are called as growth factors. So they are very important for regulating a variety of cellular processes. Okay, so it's important this cell growth factors needs to be added, right? So that way growth factors typically act as signaling molecules between the cells. And what are survival factors in the cells? Whenever the cells are depleted of the growth factors, the cells will undergo apoptosis, whereas nutrient starvation leads to a process known as macroautophagy, during which, actually these are medical terms, so we can simply use this term apoptosis. So what is happening is they are giving necessary protection for the cell for a short-term survival. Okay, so this what is apoptosis? It is a form of a programmed cell death that occurs in a multicellular organisms whenever biochemical events leads to characteristic cell changes and death. These changes will include, it can be blebbing, it can be shell shrinkage, it can be nuclear fragmentation, it can be chromatin condensation, it can be DNA fragmentation and mRNA decay. So like that, these are all signals. They are like programmed cell. If this is the condition, I am going to commit suicide. So like that, these cells will undergo death once a particular signal it is receiving from the environment or the changes in the environment. They come to know that okay, this is not the right time. So they let me go. Like that, cells will die. So that's called as apostasis. And what is happening when the cell is deprived of survival factor? When the animal cells, they need signals from other cells, not only to grow and proliferate, but also to survive. Even for survival, you need some kind of these survival factors. Okay, whenever the cells are deprived of survival factors, what they are doing, the cells will be activating this intracellular death program called as apostosis, and they die. Okay, so this is the arrangement. This is the beauty of nature. So the cells have this condition kind of programs in it. Okay, so this arrangement ensures that cells survive only when and where they are needed. If it feels that I am insignificant at this place, they don't survive there. Okay, so what is one of the coming to our sterilization? We have discussed in detail in the previous lecture about different techniques available for sterilization. One of the technique is heat treatment, and even I told you about this milk. Ancient days onwards, people have been doing how to save or how to preserve the food materials, how to preserve the milk. All these have been for practice, but the concept have been understood later. So whenever we talk about this heat treatment, it is one of the widely used method for destructing of spoilage or pathogenic bacteria in a system. So even when you call it as mild heat treatment, it is known as pasteurization based on the name by the inventor, which we have discussed in the previous lecture. So Pasteur introduced that identified these microorganisms are responsible for this, and he introduced how to preserve the food. Actually, wine preparation, that content is copied for milk protection also. Okay, so they are widely used for food products which are adversely affected by excessive heating. Okay, sorry. Despite this long history, there is no adequate explanation have been developed for the mechanism of thermal destruction of bacteria by heat. So whatever understanding of mechanism for thermal bacteria we are following, it will be useful for even the food applications or other pharmaceutical products, so any product that is formed by biochemical system. Okay. So several microorganism means microbiology textbooks tell us even at a constant temperature, this thermal death rate of bacteria is exponential with time. So that's what it is being explained. Okay, so under this, if the temperature is constant, there will be exponential death of microorganism with respect to time. So however, examples of non-exponential survivor curves also there. So there can be survivor curves can be exponential or it can be non-exponential. Whenever the temperature is constant, we come across a constant exponential death curve. When it is non-exponential, also there, which can be found in the literature. So they fall into a 4 general category which were recognized in the 19th century beginning itself. So we can say curve A, curve B, curve C and curve D are there, where I am showing the curve. So these are 4 different type of survivor curves. That is the cell exponent, that death curve, na? Death phase, how it is number is decreasing with respect to time. Okay, so that we have A, B, C, D different type of curve. We are seeing that here. So curve A is the type commonly found by most careful investigators and shows an initial lag in death rate followed by a logarithmic portion. Curve C is similar to curve A, but it tails. Why tail is happening? Wood has reported that it is attributes the tailing to a small population of heat resistant cell. As I told you, under these conditions also there are certain type of microorganism which will survive and they will multiply. Okay, so that way, so some tail is there in the curve T type. Then we have a concave curve similar to curve D, which are generally interpreted as indicating that the populations is heterogeneous with regard to heat resistance. Okay, so these are the concepts you should know. So whatever the theory that the thermal death of bacteria follows the kinetics of a unimolecular reaction, similar to the unimolecular kinetics only we are following, which is detailed in detail in also. So first order kinetics we will follow. Okay, so when you are following this first order kinetics, which is one in which the rate is proportional to the number of molecules present. Okay, so with respect to this first order kinetics, the rate is proportional to the number of molecules present. So if thermal death of bacteria truly follows first order kinetics, death must then result from an inactivation of a single molecule or site per bacterial cell. Each cell, one of the thing is getting deactivated. That is how death is taking place, is assumed. So furthermore, the death rate should be highest at the beginning and the number of bacteria is highest. This theory cannot therefore account for the initial lag in the death rate, which is frequently observed. Okay, so these are the four type of curves that we have been discussing about. So non-exponential survivor curves. Curve A is a convex survivor where curve initial lag in death rate is there. So wherever you can observe the lag here, right? So initially, with respect to time, there is a lag. That is means what? There is a there is a rate that is there, right? So this lag is there. So a curve survivor or initial lag death rate followed by an approximately logarithmic death rate commonly observed. So this curve A is the most common one. Initially there will be a lag when you start sterilizing. So that's why we are having this much time for sterilization. So curve B is a logarithmic death rate. You can see it directly because it's a log plot. That's why it is linear. So logarithmic death rate as described in the textbooks. That's what first order kinetics. And you have curve C, which is similar to curve A but with the tails. Tails means what? Here it is started. There is something is surviving. It's not expected. As expected, it is supposed to go like this. It's not happening. So it is happening. So that is some tail is there in the curve C. And what about curve D? Commonly observed with cells in logarithmic growth phase and considered to indicate a heterogeneous population. That means what? It is different microorganisms are present. In that case, we are going to have this kind of curve D in the death phase. Okay, so that's what we have to follow. And two other parameters we will discuss. We will discuss in detail about this thermal death kinetics. Yeah. So we have seen that it is assumed to be first order, right? First order kinetics is followed in the death rate. So if you want to follow the first order kinetics, the destruction kinetics, we are talking about the destruction kinetics. Okay, it can be written as minus dn by dt is equal to some rate constant into n. Okay, where n is the number of live organisms, where t is the sterilization time period, and k is the first order thermal death rate kinetics. Okay, first order thermal death kinetics rate constant. Again, it's like the reaction constant, rate constant only. Okay. So what is the negative sign implying is, the negative sign in this equation indicates that as t increases, as the time increases, what is happening to n? N decreases. That is number of live cells decreases. Can we integrate it? Please integrate this equation with boundary conditions that n, let n naught when t equal to t naught, number of cells is n naught, at any time t, number of cells is n. So with these boundary conditions, integrate it. What you will get? Integrating, you will get ln n naught by n1 or nt, anytime t. Okay, we will say anytime it is subscript t. Okay, So let n naught by nt is equal to integral k dt 0 to t. Okay, so we can separate this and integrate it. Separating and integrating. So what do you get here? What we will get? Remember, nt is the number of microorganisms that is present after sterilization time of t. So what is surviving? Number of things which is able to survive. Surviving cells. Number of surviving cells. Initially n naught is initial number of cells. Okay. So we can rewrite this in the form nt by n naught equal to e power minus kt. Okay, because when I reverse it, it can be minus kt. So then taking exponential on both sides, we are going to have nt by n naught equal to e power minus kt. Okay, so at any time t we are having this equation, or simply you can write ln nt by n naught is equal to minus kt. Okay, because we are writing this in the numerator. Okay, because these equations are similar to equation, let me say equation 1, let me say equation 2. We are going to define two parameters called as inactivation parameter. What is inactivation parameter? Is equal to this ratio n naught by nt. Ln n naught by nt equal to plus kt. Okay, so from equation 3 we have n naught by nt now. So that parameter is called as inactivation parameter, whereas in this equation 2 we have nt by n naught, right? So which is known as survival factor. So survival rate or survival factor is given by nt by n naught. That's the thing. Now how much is, so initially there were 10,000, finally there are 5. What is survival rate? Is 5 by 10,000, right? So that's what we are getting here. Number of cells at any time t, at time t naught. Okay, so we can easily calculate what is the survival rate. Okay, so that can be, survival factor can be determined. So you can easily observe that inactivation parameter is inverse of this survival factor, because each is defined by different people. Okay, this n naught by nt is the design criteria which indicates the contamination level of the medium, which is initially present as S naught and needs to be brought to a sterility level of nt. So we have to bring it down to the sterility level of nt, so that we will have less number of microorganisms. So that here only we are getting those plots. Okay, so different type of plot. Death kinetics, either initially n naught is there, how n varies with the time. We have seen A, B, C, D, 4 type, right? A, we have seen something can quickly get reduced, right? N naught or n versus t, or there is something which can go like this also. Okay, where slope is equal to minus k, where ln of nt by n naught. So when you take log, it is going to be decreasing slope, right? Minus slope we are going to have. Okay, so when you plot in terms of number of cells versus time, we are going to have slopes like this. Okay, so initial, then it is decreasing. So the value of k, which is obtained as the negative slope of this plot of ln of nt by n naught versus t, is the key to us. We can always plot it to find out our parameters. Means death rate, kinetic rate constant can be found out when you have the data of, say for example, nt versus time, right? You are going to observe the cell growth kinetics. Now that's what I have explained to you. Initially time is t naught. Initially it is number of cells is n naught. You perform some experiment to find the data. So you have data, right? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, like that you are going to have cell number of cells. So cell density value is given. So what we can do, we can plot a ln of nt by n naught. First you will find nt by n naught, because n naught is there with the 0 time, right? So nt by n naught you can find, then ln of nt by n naught you can find. So this is your y axis, this is your x axis. By plotting x versus y, you will get negative slope curve. So you will get the slope equal to minus k value. Okay, so that is possible, we can perform, right? Understood how we are doing this? Remember, even though the cell growth kinetics is there, it will, as a function of temperature, if you observe, no, effect of temperature on this one, effect of temperature on sterilization. Here this we are discussing the under the title of sterilization. I am discussing this. When you have a plot of n by n naught and you are having a sterilization time, okay, we are having a sterilization time, particularly for a E. coli. Let me say E. coli. Sterilization time in minutes. Okay, so death kinetics, if you are studying now, how it happens is, when the temperature is less, low temperature, high temperature. This is how obviously we can expect, right? It can change like this. Okay. So low temperature, let me say it is 54 degrees Celsius, high temperature, let me say 60 degrees. That's why it is important how much time sterilization time is required is decided upon what is the temperature at which you are doing these things, right? So let me say it is 54, 56, 58, 60. It was observed that this is needed at 60 degree, it needs less time. So drastically it is reduced. Let me say 2 to 4. This is around 10. Within 3 minutes at 60 degree, you will get this sterilization. This n by n naught reduction is taking place well. Okay. And for example, some may follow this straight line. Otherwise, it can be growth can be changing like this also. It's not straight line; it's a slope curved. Okay. So for example, 105 degrees Celsius and 121 degrees Celsius. So let me say time is 5, 10 up to 25. So this is for Sterothermophilis, Sterothermo philus. There are some thermally resistant bacteria. That's why they need a temperature of around 120 degrees Celsius. And if it is simply an E. coli, it is temperature required is just 60 degrees Celsius. Sterilization 60 degree 3 minutes. It is bringing down from this value to this value quickly. Whereas if it is thermally resistant bacteria like this, you can see that we have to do it not only at 120 degrees Celsius, 3 minutes is required. If it is 5 minutes required. Okay. So that is the difference based on the what type of microorganisms or pathogens that are present in the system, which microorganism we are handling. So that will decide our temperature of sterilization and time required for sterilization. Okay, so that we can choose, or we can choose when you do this study now, when you perform effect of temperature is studied, we can choose between time versus temperature, right? So you can say that, as I said, if you want to do it at low temperature 54 degrees Celsius, it is 25 minutes is required, right? Same 60 degree 3 minutes or 54 degree 25 minutes, like that we can do for E. coli sterilization of E. coli in a system. Okay, now we will solve a numerical and stop here. Okay, so that's what we have seen. So these plots we should be familiar with these terms. Okay, sterilization parameters we have seen. So the inactivation kinetics of a pure culture of microorganisms exposed to physical or chemical sterilization process is generally described by an exponential relationship between the number of organisms surviving and the extent of treatment. That is, extent of treatment is time taken. All the variations from these are likely to take place. Okay. And survivor curves, what we have plotted are called survivor plots. They are being used to generate inactivation data for specific sterilization process using specific biological indicators. So these data are important for calculating a number of sterilization parameters which help to establish a sterilizing regimen adapted to specific preparation or product. Okay. So we have seen different values. Last lecture we have discussed about D values, Z values, what is inactivation factor, and the most probable effective dose, F value. Okay, so these values we have discussed already. What is D value? Quickly I'll recall. So this is D value is the parameter used to calculate the time taken to achieve 90% reduction in the number of microorganisms. That is, the population has to be reduced by 90%, 100 to 10. That is one scale we have to reduce, right? 1000 to 100. So that is what one log reduction is taking place. So that is called D value. Okay, for example, D value is reduction of numbers by 90 percentage. Okay, D value is the time needed to reduce the bacteria population by 90 percentage or 1 log 10 at a given temperature. And there is another parameter called 12D reduction. It is the time needed to reduce the amount of bacteria by 1012 bacteria per gram of milliliter. So we want to get 1012 bacteria per gram of milliliter, how much time it takes. Okay, so that was calculated as 12D reduction. And there is the inactivation factor which I told you, and most probable effective dose. What is that one? So the inactivation factor is the total reduction in the number of viable microorganisms brought about by the defined sterilization process. So this parameter can be calculated from the D value, but only if the destruction curve follows a linear logarithmic model. Whatever, to overcome this problem caused by the variation from this model, a most probable effective dose value can be used. What is this most probable effective dose? This is a dose needed to achieve n decimal reductions in the number of microorganisms. Dose here means if it is a chemical sterilization, if not heat sterilization, how much dose is needed to get a n decimal reductions in the number of microorganisms. So we have F value. F value is a measure of total lethality of a heat sterilization process for a given microorganism and is used to compare the lethality of different heat sterilization processes. A reference value of F naught of Geobacillus stereothermophilus, formerly called as Bacillus stereothermophilus. This force value 121 degrees Celsius is being used. F value of 121 degrees is used with a Z value of 10 degrees Celsius. So the total F value of a process includes the heating up and cooling down phases of a sterilization cycle. For dry heat sterilization, the F value concept has some limited applications. So the FH value is used and corresponds to the lethality of a dry heat process in terms of equivalent of time exposure at 170 degrees Celsius. So usually sometimes a Z value of 20 degrees Celsius is used for FH values. To recall, even this heat sterilization process will be following 3 phases: heating up phase, holding phase and cool down phase. And we have seen that thermal death of bacterial cells and spores are usually thought to have a first order kinetics. So how we to express this first order kinetics and the final equation we have derived. I have shown you how to plot the graph also. So now we should able to solve a numerical. And there is another parameter also called as probability of success of sterilization. So what is the probability of success of sterilization is given by P of T is equal to e power minus k naught into T, where n, P and T takes the regular meanings. Okay, so that is the equation we have for probability of success of sterilization. Now we will solve this problem. A simple one only. You have to plot x versus y and get the slope value. So it is as simple as it is. So what we have to do is take down this problem first. A fermentation medium contains an initial spore concentrations of 8 into 10 power 10. It's not 10, it's 10 power 10. Okay, so you have the initial spore concentration is given. Okay, so then we have with respect to time, what is the number of spore density. Okay, so that is also given, and it is sterilized at a temperature of 120 degrees Celsius. Pore density is noted down, a data is given here. Okay, so now what you have to do, it is a straightforward application of the equation 6.2, so which we have discussed already. So what is the equation? Nt by n naught equal to e power minus kt. Nt by n naught equal to e power minus kt. So that equation is the log form. Nt by n naught equal to e power minus kt, right? So we have seen that ln of n naught by nt is equal to kt, or ln of nt by n naught is equal to minus kt. Okay, so that way time versus this will gives us minus k value. Slope is equal to minus k. So please plot that, you are going to get the answer. Ln of nt by n naught versus time. So what to do for that? Write the given data. Time is given, n is known, n is your nt, right? So we have n naught value, time is 0, 8.5 into 10 power 10, right? So this is your initial value. So whatever is the time given, remaining time given are 5, 10, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. So up to here data is given. So it is 8.5, 4.23, 6.2, 1.8, 4.5, 32.5 is given, right? Into 10 power 10 is there. Okay, so commonly you can keep into 10 power 10. Initial value is this, so nt by n naught, this is your n naught value. So to get a value for all this nt by n naught, then you calculate ln of nt by n naught. Okay, so this is your y axis, this is your x axis. Okay, so now plot x versus y, get slope value, report it as k equal to this. Okay, yeah, please calculate this and tell me the value. We will stop there. Also you have to determine inactivation factor at 40 minutes, which we will make use of the formula nt equal to n naught into e power minus kt. Okay, so anytime what is the inactivation factor you can determine. Okay, first part is okay, question is incomplete here. Yeah, so question here is, first one is find k. So question here is find the thermal death kinetic rate constant. The first order, so unit is going to be second inverse. Okay, that is A, and B part is with the above data calculate the inactivation factor. At 40 minutes, it's important what time I am asking. Okay, yeah, that you are going to substitute when t equal to 40, what is the value you have to substitute. Okay, So that also you will able to calculate. As I said, that formula you can use nt equal to n naught into e power minus kt. So we are finding out k value here. You will substitute second part, answer of a substitute in b, you are going to get this value. Okay, can we try that? Yeah, so what we have, if you want to do it in excel, open your excel sheet, time is given, cell score density is given, so we can enter the data. What are the time? Time is 0, 5, 10, 15, 5, 10, 15, 30. Okay, this value 8.5 into 10 power 10. How to write that? 8.5 10 power 10, no? We have to add zeros. 9 zeros we have to add. 85. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 8, 5 is reducing. So just enter those values like that. 423, 423, 2 decimals, so 8 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we have 6.2, 62, 9 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then 1.8. Oh, it's not all are 10, no? Okay, you enter the values correctly. Sorry, please correct this thing. Question, yeah, question it is given not 10 power minus 10, no, it is given 10 power 10, 10 power 9, 10 power 7, 10 power 6, 10 power 4, 32.5. So please correct that. I think I have written it here wrongly. Okay, so it is given, please correct it. 4.23 into 10 power 9, 6.2 into 10 power 7, 1.8 into 10 power 6, 4.5 into 10 power 4, 32.5 is simple. Okay, 9764. So accordingly you have to enter the data. So entering data here, 4.23, 423, 2 digits gone, remaining 7 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then 6.2 into 10 power 7, 62, 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1.8 into 10 power 6, so 18, 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4.5 into 10 power 4, 45, 3 zeros. 1, 2, 3. The final one is 32.5. So we have the value here. Now what we have to do is, initial value we need to have. So is equal to, this is your NT value, this is your N naught value. So what we have to do is NT by N naught, right? So we have to calculate. For first one we will not have the data. Ln cannot be taken, because if you take ln also it is going to be 0. Okay, ln 1 is equal to 0, right? N by N naught we will find first. N divided by N underscore naught can be found out. It is going to be 1, right? So formula is N divided by N naught. This E4 divided by F4. We get 1 value. Okay, just drag it down. I'm zooming it so that you can see clearly. So to drag it down, we get the values. Okay. So next what to do? We have to take value, log value of this, right? So this value is equal to What log? Natural log we have to take. ln. Natural log of ln of this value is 0, right? What we are doing, our writing, we have to click and write the formula equal to ln. Ln refers to natural log. Ln of, within bracket you have to write which column, G4. Okay, so then what you can do, you can drag it down, you will get the values. Okay, so we are having now ln values, ln value of ln of whatever we wanted. Okay, so we have ln, so this is your y-axis, we have time, which is our x-axis, right? So this is our y-axis, this is our x-axis. So plot this versus this. Okay, so even if you want, you can take these values separately, you should not get confused. You have to paste the values 1, 2, 3. So now we need a plot for this. So insert, going to graph, we can get a nice graph here. Okay, so now we got a plot. So what is the slope value? Anybody got the value manually? Add trend line we have to give. So add trend line, display equation or chart. What is the slope of the line we are getting? Okay, so that is our k value. This is what we are having. Okay, so what we are getting is this ln of nt by n naught versus time in minutes. Okay, so we are getting a value of slope value, y equal to, slope value is minus k is equal to minus 0.7313. So we have minus k is equal to minus 0.7313, which means that k is equal to 0.7313. okay, so that is our slope value, which means that k will have a unit of minute inverse, right? Because it is minute, right? So you can convert into second inverse also. What is the question? They asked in second inverse. It was asked in the question, express k in terms of second inverse. Okay, so second inverse means what? 0.7313. second inverse, minute inverse means it is 1 by minute. To convert minute, we know that 60 second is equal to 1 minute. So minute will get, people make mistake by multiplying the 60. That's why I am showing the basic thing of chemical process calculation course. Write the units and show the unit tally. Okay, so whenever you divide by 60, we get 0.7313 divided by 60. How much you get? Anyone? It's 0.7313 divided by 60 is 0.0121. So we get 0.0121 second inverse. 0.0121 second inverse is the answer for the rate constant. Okay, so the death rate kinetic rate constant is given by 0.0121 second inverse. So that is answer for first part. Okay, what about the second part? Second part is the inactivation factor. Okay, I think we have written that there. Okay, so second part is about what is the inactivation factor. So inactivation, now we have K value. Now we have K value is equal to 0.012 second inverse, or you can say 0.72 minute inverse. Okay, now question is second part question. What is the question? For inactivation factor, at 40 minutes. What is the inactivation factor at 40 minutes? So what is the formula? We have to make use nt is equal to n naught into e power minus kt. Okay, so we will substitute in terms of minute inverse only. So initially it is n naught value is what? It is given that 8.5 into 10 power 10 into e power minus k value is 0.72. Okay, so minus 0.72 into t. T is equal to minutes. Remember, it is minute inverse. We are substituting minute. If you are substituting k in second inverse, you should enter your time in also same. Okay, so question is about 40 minutes or 4 hours. Yeah, 40 minutes is the question. So if it is 40 minutes, what is the thing happening? So you should write in 40. That is important because minute inverse, minute get cancelled. Okay, so this will give us the value of nt. So please substitute and tell me the value. 8.5 into 10 power 10. Clear. 8.5 into 10 power 10 be there into 2.75 divided by 1000. Okay. Because 10 power minus 3,
0.026.
0.026. Okay, 0.026 unit. Is there a unit for it? No, it is just an inactivation factor. What's the name?
Sir, G1, sir.
G1. Okay. Okay, so we have an inactivation factor of 0.0216. Okay, up to 0.23 to 0.26 you will get depending upon this value you are substituting, right? I am using this value. Okay, good. Okay, so that way we can follow the kinetics to determine some of the values also. Okay, so next lecture also we will discuss about this. In the next lecture also we will discuss about the kinetics of this thing for a batch sterilization. Okay. Well, so in this lecture number 32 we have discussed about cell growth kinetics before getting into cell death kinetics, because we have already long back we have discussed about cell growth kinetics, where one has to, every cell has to go through a lag phase, exponential growth phase, stagnation, stationary phase, and then death phase. So now we are again in detail focusing on death rate kinetics, where we assume first order death rate kinetics. So we can get the data if number of cells versus time data is there. We have several important parameters which are used to define the sterilization effective. To understand the effectiveness of the sterilization, it is important that we understand the death rate kinetics. So some of the parameters, different parameters have been defined also. So all the parameters have been defined, and we have used numericals to solve and determine those parameters. Okay, thank you so much for patiently attending this class and answering the values also. Jeevan, thank you so much. Okay, meet you in the next lecture. Bye bye.